So, we need to talk about a pretty fundamental shift that's happening right now in how games, simulations, really any interactive experience is made. We're looking at a new paradigm where the very foundation of creation, the game engine itself, isn't some fixed tool you have to work around. Instead, it's a dynamic system that developers and AI design together. And that right there is the core idea. For years, creators have had to kind of squeeze their vision into the box that a pre-built engine gives them. This new approach, it flips that completely on its head. It's all about reclaiming that creative agency and putting the developer back in the driver's seat of their own tech. But, to really appreciate where we're going, we first have to understand the problem developers are up against right now. We're living in what some people call the era of titans. And yeah, while these titans are incredibly powerful, they also come with some serious baggage. If you look back, this whole journey has really had three big phases. 20 years ago, we were in the era of the Forge. You built everything from scratch. It was insane and difficult, but hey, you had total control. Today, it's the era of Titans. You've got these massive engines like Unreal and Unity that give you immense power, but you're kind of locked into their ecosystem, their way of doing things. The future, what we're calling the declarative era, promises the best of both worlds. You get that bespoke, custom control, but without having to build every single little component by hand. Think about the trade-off. The old model is monolithic, often bloated with tons of features you will never, ever use. It's slow to adapt, and it locks you into one vendor. The new model, on the other hand, is modular, completely custom fit to your needs, lets you iterate at lightning speed, and you have full ownership. It's really the difference between buying a suit off the rack and getting one perfectly tailored just for you. So, how do we actually make that happen? Let's dive in and break down this new paradigm that promises to finally end this era of compromise. Okay, the heart of this whole revolution is something called the Model Context Protocol, or MCP. The best way to think about it is like a language for telling an AI how to design an engine. So instead of writing a bunch of low-level code, a developer just states their intent. The feeling, the mechanics, the platforms they're targeting. Then, specialized AI agents take that intent and generate a completely custom engine. And it's deterministic, which is key. It means you get the exact same engine every single time from the same instructions. No surprises. Now, if you're in the DevOps world, this might sound familiar. It's a lot like Terraform, which lets you define your entire cloud infrastructure as code. This is literally the same idea, but for game engines. You're describing the engine's architecture in a high-level, human-readable way, and the system just builds it perfectly every time. So the process itself is surprisingly simple. You start with a creative brief. You describe maybe a cozy, exploratory game or a tense, competitive shooter. AI agents then translate that vision, picking out only the modules you actually need for rendering, physics, networking, whatever. What you get at the end is a super lean, custom engine that is completely reproducible from that same brief, anywhere, anytime. Okay, that's the theory. And it sounds great. But what does this actually look like in practice? How do you really go from just a random idea to something you can actually play? Well, the speed is genuinely mind-blowing. It all kicks off with just a simple text file, a design brief. From that single file, AI agents generate a blueprint and then scaffold an entire playable prototype. We're talking source code, assets, a build you can actually run. Basically, that whole first mile of development, all that setup and boilerplate, it's almost completely automated. Let's look at the Noir Rising prototype, for example. It started from the simplest seed, a newspaper article about rising sea levels. The system then layered on a roguelike genre modifier and a 1920s noir twist. And just like that, you have a fully fleshed out concept with clear goals for the player experience and a core gameplay loop, all generated from that one initial spark of an idea. And this slide, this is the real kicker. What traditionally takes a team weeks or even months just setting up the project, writing boilerplate code, getting a basic loop running, can now be done in minutes, maybe hours. This isn't just a small improvement, it's a massive order of magnitude leap in how fast you can move. But here's the thing, this isn't just about going faster. This whole declarative approach enables an entirely new ecosystem of capabilities that are just incredibly hard, if not impossible, to do with those old monolithic engines. For example, let's talk about accessibility. So often it's an afterthought, a checklist you deal with at the end. Here, it's baked in from the very beginning. The system automatically plans for features like one-handed layouts, turn-based options, or high-contrast UIs right from that initial brief. It's about making sure more people can actually enjoy the experience from day one. And this system is incredibly pragmatic. It doesn't force you to abandon the tools you already know and love. You can take your custom prototype and export it directly into a ready-to-go project for Unreal, Unity, or Godot. But even crazier is the reverse integrator. It can actually import an existing Unreal project, normalize it, and then spit it back out as a Unity project. That kind of portability, that has been a holy grail for developers for years. Now, for a real wow moment, get this. The system can tap into real-time cultural trends from places like TikTok or YouTube, analyze them for what's feasible, and automatically generate tiny, playable prototypes. I mean, imagine seeing a viral meme in the morning and having a playable web game based on it ready to share by the afternoon. The agility is just staggering. So let's pull back and look at the big picture here. What does this all really mean for the future of making things? And not just in gaming, but across pretty much every digital field you can think of. I mean, this technology is a universal platform that goes way beyond gaming. We're talking defense-grade simulations for training, real-time surgical simulators for doctors, virtual production tools for film, and complex data visualization for science. Seriously, any field that needs a high-performance, real-time 3D application can benefit from an engine that's custom-built, lean, and totally predictable. Ultimately, this entire model is about one thing: returning power to the creator. It's about making the engine a true extension of your creative process, not a barrier you have to fight against. Your technical and creative control are finally one and the same, and the pace of innovation, your cadence, is set by your vision, not by your tools. And that really brings us to the final thought I want to leave you with. For decades, our ambitions have been shaped and maybe even limited by the tools we've had to use. So just take a second and really think about it. If your engine was no longer a limitation, if it could be absolutely anything you needed it to be, what would you create?